Hey guys, I'm going to talk about something that's real touchy. Uh, I've put a few videos out about policing in the past. Uh, I was in a group discussion online, I believe it was last weekend, and everything came up from uh, policing to race relations, just a whole host of things. Um, and I want to talk about something. Uh, I got asked, "Are you a conservative?" And today, with this ridiculous political spectrum that we have, I would probably be labeled a far right guy, uh, far right. But back decades and decades ago, although I've never been a Democrat, ever, um, all the way back to Nixon, I don't have a Democrat bone in my body, and no offense to you, but I happen to believe that only fools would vote for those folks in the Democrat Party. However, all that being said, uh, I used to consider myself and used to properly label myself as a uh, liberal. But this is not a liberal in like what you're thinking, none in the least bit, and not anything liberal that's been mentioned over the past, I'll say, 35 to 40 years, maybe longer than that. Liberal used to mean, and hence the Libertarian Party started, but I'm not a libertarian nor a member to that party. But a liberal used to mean you were for as much freedom as could possibly be handed to society without anarchy and with great belief and emphasis on individual rights. Not rights of a group, but individual rights. I believe that rights start with every individual. Whoever you are, you're an individual and you got rights. As long as I'm not conflicting with those rights, nor anyone conflicting with my rights, I believe we're on a even keel and have as much freedom as we're going to be able to obtain in a society where people do bad things and bad things happen, corruption, uh, street crime, all sorts of things. Uh, Now, I used to kind of be full well pro police, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me many years ago. This would have been probably 1988 or 1999. I had a nice, big, beautiful home. I've had several nice houses. I've been lucky in my life. But I had a huge porch that wrapped around one side of the house and the whole front of the house with these nice posts, you know, and it was an older house. And it had the little pickets and the rails around the porch. And one day I had a little Sooner dog, what I call a little Sooner dog, a little black and white dog. And the dog got loose. And we're looking and looking for the dog. And somebody had grabbed her, and she happened to be pregnant. And they beat on her or did something to her. and she was tied to one of the posts on my front porch when we got back from hours of going around trying to look for her. And she had a noose around her neck tied to the post. And it was black neighbors that did it. We found out later. Amazing how they love to use nooses and things like that to white people. It's just a fact. Maybe not today, but back then, 88, 89, I believe is when it happened. A set of our black neighbors seemed to think that noosing something to a white guy was okay. It wasn't okay. I'm not going to tell you how that story finished for them, the damn lot of them, but it didn't finish very good for them at all. Took a while for us to find out who they were, but black people around them ended up ratting them out, and didn't cost much either. It's amazing how folks will sell one another out, even when it's racial things. But there was a strongly worded message on that note that was taped to one of the front posts, and strongly worded. I'm not going to repeat what was there. See, I get mad and I sound racist when I even tell this story. But fact remains, we did find out that they were just as racist as I'll get out. They were racist because they were continual victims, and they made themselves to be victims of every white person that they came across, which is not normal behavior. It's very psychotic behavior of a sick mind and an evil heart that thinks like that. So, and if you were a black person and one of your only or very few white neighbors did this to your dog, I would take no offense, nor would I think that you were racist if you did something like that. That you're saying, my white neighbors, you know. And amazing how a few dollars got the white guys to rat on the black people that did this. I wouldn't think nothing about it. So quit walking around being a victim. Back on to the policing part. I figured I'd give a little bit of the story, and you guys know how I ramble anyway. I called the police out to the house. This was many moons ago, different day and time. So the guy comes out there, and he immediately was like, we're loading the dog up. I had a Mazda RX-7, and I did the hatch up, had the hatch up, and had just put her in the back. I took her to the veterinarian. She ended up delivering the puppies. Everything she ended up being fine. So the dog was fine. Her name was Lucky, and she was lucky. And anyway, the cop came up, and he's immediately looks at everything. Is like, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I'm like, you think maybe you could take some print on the tape there or something like that, because it was put up with duct tape. You know, it's wide duct tape, and it was just a note, and it was, the tape was just went up the rail, and the note was at the bottom of the tape. I was like, well, can you get a fingerprint off of this or something? I ain't gonna do that. And we got in a shouting match. I ain't gonna tell you where it was at, but I was working for that particular city that I lived in, and I was very much in the hierarchy there. And I told him, it was probably late on a Saturday, because I had to get the vet to come in. And to their credit, the veterinary doctor came in and met us there pronto. But and started cussing me out and threatening, and when I bit back, I was like, F you, man, you should know better than to, have you got no heart? And I was saying things like that. And I was cussing at him. Point being, he had a bad day. I explained to him Monday what was going to happen to him. He came back to the house later in that day, asked us about the dog, asked if he could come in. I said, come in. He sat down on my couch. He rubbed the dog. He told the dog he was sorry. He asked for the tape. They supposedly did run a finger, dust it for prints at the department, but none were on it. Or at least that's what they said. But the guy came in, he apologized, because I explained very thoroughly to him that come Monday morning when I got in my office, he was going to have some severe trouble coming his way Monday. I said, if you're scheduled to be off, I guarantee you Monday morning you're going to be in the police department. It was just an awful, ugly situation. But that was the first time I had ever, and I was well into adulthood at this point. I was out of college. As I said, I had a very high position in the city, in city government. And I didn't end up doing what I explained to him, but I could have done that and then some to him. But he came back. He was very nice. He was tearing up. His eyes were all red and watery. I mean, he realized he messed up. And he kept explaining he had a bad day. And that rung in me. It's been like a recording going off in my head. I had a bad day. So what would he had done? Now I'm going to go on the other end of the racial spectrum. What if he had went down, he went into a black area, maybe it was drug riddled or something, and took out that bad day on arresting somebody that had a marijuana joint on them or something like that, right? What does he do? Does he just pistol whip them? I mean, how does a bad day work on somebody that has committed a criminal act? You see what I'm saying? If he's treating people asking for help like a piece of like trash, what would a bad day for this man constitute if he got you on a speeding ticket or something and you dared spoke up, or you said, no, why have you stopped me, or whatever, anything to set one of these guys off. And now I've been on YouTube in one form or another, and Facebook, and since 2005, I believe, 2007, Facebook 2004 or 5, YouTube 2004 or 5, Facebook since 2007. And all I'm seeing is just increased exponentially. Thousands and thousands of percent as we started getting these telephones where we can just record, everywhere we go. It is shocking to me that it seems to me that the majority, and I would have told you 5 years ago when everybody was out here recording, 8 years ago when everybody was out here recording on their telephones, I would have said, this is amazing me. Probably upwards of 50% of these people, these police, are very dangerous. Now I'm saying that almost 100% are, and I'll tell you why. You see, and you can just go look for yourself. maybe 1 to 3% of the time, a good officer will stand up and stop a bad officer from physically abusing even an elderly person or a kid. They will sit back as a collective group and allow the one bad apple that they claim that there is beat up a 13, 14-year-old kid, sling down to the concrete 70, 80-year-old man or woman. Just there's a big video online today. An old man was on his bicycle. A guy accidentally hit the guy. It just bumped him, and it was nothing to it, but it flattened one of the guy's tires. The police came, and the old man was trying to tell the cop, hey, it's okay, I don't want to file anything, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to do no charges against the guy that was driving the car. He's a friend of mine, I've known him since he was a boy. And anyway, because the old man didn't want to do nothing, he got his head bashed up against the cement curb and died 2 weeks later, and was charged when he wasn't drinking for drunk and disorderly. That was the charge, the pretense, after the officer slung him and he bashed his head on the curb to protect himself. And the whole group knew it, that was there knew, and nobody spoke up. Nobody spoke up. So let me define a bad officer to you. A bad officer is an officer that would abuse his authority, get on a power trip, dish directives to the citizenry that he is not entitled nor empowered to dictate, physically abuse the citizenry, plant things, lie to the citizenry and to the district attorney's office and in courtrooms and things of that nature, and get citizens in trouble when they themselves have committed the criminal act. Unlawful searches and seizures. In the U.S., we are, every time a cop approaches you, let me see your ID. You know what that is? That we use ID. In Nazi Germany and in communist Russia and in communist China, they say, papers, portfolio, give me your papers. Same thing. Our police will turn on us, they will turn on a dime if, and they've consistently done it already, when government, the higher-ups over them, commit illegal acts to the citizenry. They don't care. They will back any government interest. They have went in churches, beat up pastors, had the whole gang with them. Not one of them has spoke up repeatedly across the nation. And the silent officer is more culpable, more criminal, and more evil than the officer that is perpetrating crimes. And the way I think of police today is they've got their gang colors, they're in their colors. They have their gang tattoos all up their necks and down their arms. They're street gangs is what they've turned into. We have brought home from war mentally unstable men and women and give them guns and give them authority over our own citizenry from war. Something we knew not to do in times and decades and wars past. See, there's always something can sound good, like, you're a hero, great. So let's make police out of them or give them all these government jobs where they have authority over the people. That's not a good idea. But that doesn't mean that they're not a hero and that they shouldn't be respected and honored for the service that they've provided. But I don't want none of them policing around me. And I'm gonna tell you, especially to you young guys, if you're in trouble and you can handle it on your own, handle it on your own. And here's why. Calling the police to help you can be one of the most dangerous things you ever do in your lifetime and can get you killed, can get you murdered. And there will be no retribution for you. We do see now cases are being more prevalent against police, and the citizenry is now winning these cases. Another example I will give you, one of my dearest friends that was my next door neighbor in my late 30s through my 40s in a neighborhood where I lived. He was the head department head for the state DMV inspections, not the criminal investigations, not policy making on inspection stickers and things like that. He was going after hardened criminals, car theft rings, inspection sticker, corruption and things like that, things that are big dollar business. And anyway, in the state I lived in, he was the head guy over that, and he had worked with a sheriff's department for 18 years before he took the job with the state. And he said, I would have loved nothing more than to retire with the county department I was with. I was very comfortable there. He said, but he couldn't take any longer the change that he had seen over the many years that he had been policing, that our Constitution was being, and personal rights were being thrown in the garbage can, and he couldn't take these people coming back from Mideast war, and these nut cases, and he said I couldn't work around it. And he said I was out one day and I called for backup, and the guy behind me I had to reprimand, and he said that guy was behind me with his sidearm, and I got scared, and he said I knew then I got to get out of here, because he was in fear from fellow officers. And it's a sad shame. So I'm no longer looking at the police as any type of protection for myself or for my family. What I would really prefer is that the authorities get the hell out of our way and let all of us protect ourselves. That's the big thing right there. Hence all the crime, hence this, hence that. People in neighborhoods have a grand ability to protect themselves, police themselves, and correct themselves. But because of the policing and them taking charge to do it nowadays, somebody could be in your house doing something very indecent to your wife or your child, and if you take care of the situation, the police will come put you in jail. So I'm seeing no positives by police. I'm seeing no positives in school protection. If Uvalde and other situations haven't shown you that they let a whole grade of fourth or second graders, 20 or so, 28 of them in a room, they get killed, and the police are too scared to go in after the gunman. They won't let the parents in. The parents are there. Many of the parents are armed, and they will not let any of the parents be a true hero and go protect any of the children. Those people should be in prison. All of those officers, state troopers down there in Texas, county-wide police, the city policing-wide, they should all be in prison. Any judge that sides with those folks, he should be stripped down and put in prison. There's laws that are in effect to protect us all. Unfortunately, we don't have a system of justice to back us up as we the people. And so I'm done with it. I'm done with any respect towards any courts. I'm done with any respect towards any policing, be it city, county, or state, or federal. I'm done with it, done with it, done with it. I'm going to tell you right now, I would be ashamed of my son if he got through college or whatever he's going to end up doing, and he decided to be a policeman or a deputy or a State Bureau of Investigator or FBI. I would be ashamed of him. And I hold no respect for any of the people that are in any of these departments all across the United States. I'm done with it. I am done with it. If you are a good officer, if you are